from the most watched station in Central Texas. This is Kwtx News 10.
We had an individual try to kill one of our officers this morning.
One shocking act puts a police officer in a hospital bed. And as investigators try to piece together why this happened, a community is reaching out to help. Good afternoon. I'm Justin Early alongside News 10 anchor Tara Mergener. She's at the Waco Police Department tonight as we begin our team coverage. And Tara, what is the latest on all of this?
Well, Justin, as you can imagine, it's been a very tough day for this department. The officer is very badly hurt. The chief says it's going to be a very long road to recovery. The suspect is dead, and tonight we're still waiting for the names to be released of the people that are involved in this. Now, the ordeal started late this morning at Olive Street and North 23rd here in Waco. SWAT team and drug enforcement officers were trying to serve a warrant during a traffic stop. When the officer approached the vehicle, that is when things went terribly wrong. Now, we've got live team coverage. John Carroll has been at the scene all day long. Keisha Lopez is at the hospital with more on the officer's condition tonight. John, we begin with you. What can you tell us?
Well, Tara, we're standing here at 23rd and Olive Street in North Waco. We've been here since about 10:30 this morning. Right behind me is exactly where a GMC Denali was stopped, filled with bullet holes. This is exactly what happened today. Police officers were making a stop to check out that vehicle and a person inside that they were looking at possibly involved in drug activity. When one of the officers got close to the vehicle, the driver turned and ran over the police officer, making a very large sound. Immediately, officers jumped out or were immediately grabbing their guns and emptied inside to that suspect who was inside of the Denali. We don't know how many gunshots were fired, but we know possibly 15, 20, 25. There's so many. In fact, the man who lives in the house maybe 10 feet from where everything ended said he heard the big thud when the officer was hit. Now, this is the ambulance that was carrying away the officer who was critically wounded because he was pinned underneath the vehicle. Officers actually lifted the car up, pulled him out, began doing CPR on him and other efforts to take care of him, as well as the ambulance, waiting on the ambulance to get here. They rushed him to the hospital, and this is exactly what happened today that was almost miraculous, that the cops were able to pull him out. Let's listen to Sergeant Patrick Swanton of the Waco Police Department to explain it.
It took multiple officers that were on the scene to lift the vehicle off of our injured officer. He was down and pinned under an SUV type vehicle.
All right, so what we can also tell you, Tara, is that the Texas Rangers have aided now in this investigation. As you said earlier, the suspect was shot and killed, and we're not sure exactly whether he died on the way to the hospital, actually at the scene, but he has been pronounced deceased. We have been told by some of the people in the area what his name is, but Waco police have not released his name nor the name of the police officer at this time. Right when this event happened, Waco police officers, McLennan County Sheriff's Department, even game wardens all converged on this scene. It was an incredible scene, trying to keep this officer alive and also to try to keep this whole area safe from a very volatile situation. Live in North Waco, back to you, Tara.
Good afternoon, I'm Gordon Collier. We're continuing our coverage of an incident in Waco where a police officer was run over by a suspect he was attempting to question during a traffic stop. The officer's in the hospital. The suspect was shot dead by police. We have team coverage led by Tara Mergener, who joins us live from the Waco Police Department. Tara, bring us up to date.
Well, Gordon, as you can imagine, it's been a very long, hard day for this department. What started out as a traffic stop went very bad very quickly. Tonight, we've got one critically injured officer and one person dead. Now, this all started just after 10 o'clock this morning on Olive Street and North 23rd in Waco. SWAT team and drug enforcement officers were trying to serve a warrant during that traffic stop. When the officers approached the vehicle, that is when things went terribly wrong. Now, we've got live team coverage. We've got John Carroll. He's been at the scene all day long. Keisha Lopez is standing by at the hospital. John, do you have any new information? We begin with you.
We actually do, Tara. I'm here in North Waco at 23rd and Olive, where we have been ever since 10:30 this morning. The incident happened right behind us, about 50 to 60 feet in the street right behind me. As you said, officers were attempting to serve a warrant. And then when an officer who was covered in tactical gear was approaching the vehicle, it was a large SUV. The driver, the suspect, turned and ran over the police officer, pinning him underneath there. Immediately, we've been told by one of the neighbors, who we will hear directly from tonight at 10, he was just 10 feet away and he heard and turned and saw officers fire. 3 different officers emptied their guns. They pulled the suspect out, began working on him, and officers also lifted that large vehicle up and were able to pull the officer who was critically injured to safety. Let's listen to what Sergeant Patrick Swanton has to say about how they did that.
We had an individual try to kill one of our officers this morning, and I can tell you that as soon as I got here, there were multiple agencies working on that suspect. It's impressive to see how the officers in ETMC and Waco Fire go into the mode of, we don't care what you did, we're going to save your life if we can. And they did that this morning. Obviously, the officers worked in unison together to lift a vehicle off of a pinned officer. And I will tell you that was no easy task, as it was a full-size SUV that was on top of our officer.
You should see the SUV. I think we have it in some of our video. It is a GMC Denali. That's how big it was. Now, we have been trying to get the information of the ID of the police officer, who they say they won't release it till tomorrow morning. And Waco PD, we just talked to them, and they said, we still will not release the name of the suspect. But we have heard from other sources that have confirmed this evening that the suspect is in his mid-30s, and his name is Kerry Bradley, and he lived nearby. Again, he was killed today in the gunfire that occurred right here. Tara, that's the latest news from North Waco. Back to you.
Okay, John Carroll, thank you very much. Let's get now to Keisha Lopez, who, as we said, has been standing by at the hospital. Keisha, is there any change tonight on the officer's condition?
No, unfortunately, that has not happened. Hospital officials here, of course, are being very quiet about the police officer's condition, obviously because of HIPAA laws, but I can tell you that he is still in stable yet critical condition. Of course, he was brought here at Baylor Scott and White Hillcrest Medical Center after emergency crews freed him from being pinned underneath that SUV. They rushed him straight here. He was taken into surgery, where, of course, the hospital's trauma surgeons worked on him. It's unclear if the officer is still in surgery or what the extent of his injuries are. Earlier today, Waco Police Chief Ryan Holt did stop by the hospital. He did take the time to remind us all of how dangerous public safety jobs can be.
We're reminded in a time like this that what our officers do on a daily basis is a very dangerous job. They do it well, and we're lucky, and I'm lucky to represent them as their chief of police.
And back out here live, we're told that the officer is surrounded by family and friends. Of course, that law enforcement community has shown a lot of support today and will continue to do so in the coming weeks and months as he begins to recover. So we're going to send it over to Tara, who's going to wrap up this portion.
All right, Keisha Lopez, thank you very much. Now, at a press conference earlier today, Police Chief Ryan Holt said he's very grateful for the outpouring of support from the community. The Waco City Council even had a moment of silence today for the officer. Everyone is praying for his recovery. The department is sure appreciating the good wishes and all the prayers right now. Gordon?
All right, Tara, thanks so much. And as we continue our team coverage of this investigation, we will update our website, kwtx.com, as well as our social media pages.